Hello, my name is Stacy Cossey and I'm a volunteer with the organization We the People, Claiming Our Democracy. I would like to invite you to help us get an important initiative on the ballot here in Washington State. This initiative is looking to limit the big money that's influencing our politics and elections. Before we go any further, I do have a confession to make. This is the first time I've been actively involved in a political effort, and this is the first time I've ever made a video. The only reason I'm standing here in front of you today is because Initiative 1329 is giving me hope for a future. I was a financial consultant for 27 years, and it was in this role that I woke up and experienced firsthand the games that corporations and our government play. There's something profound about waking up to realize that your country doesn't operate anything like you believed your entire life. I would like to share my interpretation of the game because I think it's important to see it for what it is. Not to get frustrated, but so that we, number one, can empower ourselves, number two, we can overcome them, and number three, we can reclaim our democracy. Obviously, all parts of the game don't apply to all corporations, but I have seen each aspect in individual situations and observed the overall effect, as have others. So let's see if I can keep my props together over here at my high-tech chart. Our people, corporations, and governments are locked in a cycle of interdependence. This cycle has the potential to be symbiotic, but of course our experience today is far from that, as we all well know. But let's start how it could potentially work. At the top we have the people of the United States of America. We're an amazing mix of all kinds of races, religions, and political affiliations. We're the most important component of this whole cycle. Why? Because neither government nor corporations have a purpose without us. Our goals are simple. We want to be happy. We want to be healthy. We want an economy that creates jobs so we can live the good life. We want our children to have access to quality education. And we want the opportunity to be able to succeed to the highest that's within each of us. Our expectation from our government is to provide the physical infrastructure and just the right amount of laws and regulations to keep everything flowing smoothly. We expect our government to provide security, both home and abroad, to provide a just and true system that supports the American ideal and to ensure equal opportunity for all. We expect our elections to be fair and our politicians to be honest and responsive to our needs. Our expectation from our corporations is to provide jobs and create goods and services that support our lifestyle, our needs, and our desires. We expect healthy food and medicines. We expect them to abide within the regulations that have been set forth by our government. We expect them to be responsible to people as well as to our shared environment. It's through our votes that politicians get into office, and it's through our consumer purchases that corporations make their profits. So there's a mutually balanced and beneficial relationship that can occur between citizens and politicians, as well as between consumers and corporations. It's interesting to note that in this scenario, there's not much of a relationship between corporations and government. I mean, why would there need to be? They both function to support us. Let's contrast that image with the cycle we live in today. Beginning with corporations, they have the goal of continuous and ongoing profits. When one profitable area of business is saturated, it's expected and in fact demanded that another's found or created. They become very good at playing the game and masters at creating and protecting a favorable image from every conceivable angle. While obviously not all corporations play the same games, the following are some of the moves which I have observed. They protect their profits through the power of media on several very subtle levels. Advertising is the obvious use of media, but I think we also need to be aware of the important role media plays to create and reinforce our culture as well as our needs and desires. They protect their profits by partnering with universities and research scientists who are paid to research their product. Corporation will viciously attack or subtly undermine any opposition to their own favorable research. They protect their profits by rotating their top executives through the very regulatory agencies that have the responsibility to govern their own product. It's a little unbelievable, but true. They protect their profits by funding politicians who are looking for contributions for their political campaigns with the expectation that they will receive future favors. They protect their profits by offering lucrative job opportunities to politicians as lobbyists after their political service is over. These are all extremely powerful and extremely effective hooks. From the perspective of politicians, they're beholden to the funders of their campaign from their very first day of service to our country, or they couldn't make it to Congress or any other electoral office in the first place. So the very structure of the system is rigged in favor of the needs and desires of the wealthy corporation or individual. These needs and desires are usually to remove the regulations or laws that stand in the way of becoming even wealthier. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I think Americans as a whole have a conceptual disconnect about how money spent here actually affects them here. So let me see if we can follow the money. From my observation, the cycle generally works something like this. The corporation donates money to a politician's political campaign. To return the favor, the politician takes action on the corporation's behalf, compromising some aspect of the public good and works to remove a key regulation, which opens up a new avenue of profit for the corporation. It's the American people, the consumers and citizens, you and me, that are negatively impacted as regulations designed to protect us are removed. Unfortunately, the power of the corporation's presence is so strong and so invisible that people don't always see the negative effect until further down the line. Maybe not even until the class action suits hit. Into this cycle, we throw the impact of the 2010 Citizens United Supreme Court ruling that gave corporations the same civil rights as U.S. citizens. Here's a concept. Since a citizen has the right to freedom of speech, so now does a corporation. But since a corporation can't technically speak, they've been permitted to set up and fund super PACs with virtually unlimited amounts of unregulated money. This money can be spent on as much advertising and as much lobbying as they need to achieve their goals. The impact of this decision can be graphically seen in this chart, Campaigns and Elections from OpenSecrets.org. As you can see, from 1990 to 2002, there was virtually no significant funding for campaigns and elections. In 2004 through 2010, there was a couple years of funding ranged in the $220 million range. But the impact of the Supreme Court ruling in 2010 caused this amount to quadruple to $1 billion in the 2012 elections. Now, whether you support the concept of corporate personhood or not, clearly the effect of this decision has been to add even more money into this money for influence cycle. Another recent Supreme Court ruling has increased the prior campaign donation limits for wealthy individuals from $123,000 to $5.9 million per election cycle. This virtually ensures that our system can now be bought. So here's my billion-dollar question. Who is likely to enact change to this system? Is it the politicians who will vote to cut off the hand that feeds them? Is it the corporations who will willingly stop using politics as the means to increase their profits? The only component of this relationship that can and in fact has to take action to change is us. We need to wake up. We need to become empowered. We need to become proactive citizens because we are the key. Don't forget who gave corporations the power in the first place. We did. We should be in control of this relationship right here. And we can be by being intentional about every dollar we spend. And don't forget who voted politicians in. We did. We should be in control of this relationship here. And we can be in control by waking up and becoming empowered and demanding our rights. We should be in control of this relationship here. And we can be in control with the help of Initiative 1329 because it hits at the core of this money for influence game. It calls for regulation and oversight to this money in addition to a constitutional amendment to reverse Citizens United and to clarify it's natural, living, breathing people that our forefathers intended to receive the rights of the Constitution, not artificial entities. We believe it's the civil rights movement of our day. Corporations aren't people. They want the rights of people without the responsibilities that come with it. I honestly feel such patriotism and a personal connection to Abraham Lincoln as we work to make sure that the government of the people, by the people, and for the people does not perish from this earth. I also have a deep admiration for our founding fathers, for they could envision a time when Congress would be unwilling or unable to cut off the hand that feeds them. So they gave the provision for a second option, an option where 2/3 of the states could pass a recommendation to Congress for a constitutional amendment. I know it sounds like an impossible dream, but this is a movement already in motion. In Washington State, there's 2,500 volunteers working to gather signatures. There's 13 cities, including Seattle and Tacoma, and 4 counties that are already on record supporting this. Nationally, 16 states have passed legislation calling for a constitutional amendment. Now, the spotlight is on us, as we have the potential to be the 17th state. We have until June 25th to obtain the required signatures to get this on our November ballot. Now, I'm aware that time is short and getting shorter, but I believe in the ability of a small number of people to change the world. For I believe that deep inside every American, there is a burning love for our country. Deep inside every American, there's a patriot waiting to be born. Deep inside every American, there's a memory of the pride we once felt for being part of this amazing and powerful country. It's time to remember this love, patriotism, and pride and do whatever it takes to bring our country back to the people. For we are the people of the United States of America. We are the people that give purpose to our government and corporations. We are the people who must take action for this to change. We need your signature. Will you join us?